Hashem, Parshas Pinchas, Parshas Pinchas. Shalom, Shalom, Pinchas, ben Elazar, Aaron, Peleni, Shivas, Timothy, Me'al, Israel, B'Kenos, Kinasi, B'Socham, L'Chilisi, B'nei Israel, B'Kenasi. So he says, Moshe, Aaron, Baruch Hashem, bring in a Chumash. He says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen returned my wrath from on the children of Israel, B'Kanoas Kinasi B'Socham, when he zealously avenged my vengeance, I did not destroy my children of Israel with my zealousness. Before we look at the Rashi about this, I want to just say that there are two scribal oddities there's actually three major scribal oddities in the beginning of Parshas Pinchas. Most famous is the broken vav of the word Shalom. We'll get to that. That's in the next pasuk. Also, there's a pasuk that stops in the Piska Be'emtza pasuk, and that there's a pasuk that stops right in the middle. That's chapter 26, verse 1. There's two times that appears in the Torah. And in this parsha, in this first verse, it says the word kina, B'Kanoas Kinasi. The Baal Turim tells us that the kuf has three crowns on it. Normally, there are certain letters that get crowns on the Torah. What is a crown? It's like basically a zayin on top of the letter, and there are three of them. That makes a crown. So the letters that get that are called shatnei skets, and those letters shin, ayin, tes, nun, zayin, gimel, tzadi, all have crowns. But the kuf here also gets crowns. There are 185 places in the Torah where the kuf is supposed to get multiple crowns. Says the Baal Turim. We today have the practice of also putting crowns on 6 other letters, but only one crown, not 3 crowns. What are those letters? Does anybody know? Those are called the Bedek Chaya letters. Bedek Chaya, Beis Dal Kuf Ches Yud Hey. So, okay, anyway. So now we go to the Rashi. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Elia, you want to read the Rashi for us? Sure. Why the Rashi's wondering, why does he say Pinchas, the son of Elazar, son of Aaron HaKohen? So go on.
לפי שהיו השבטים מבזים אותו, הראיתם בן פוטי זה שפיתם אבי אמו, גולים לעבודה זרה, והרג נשיא שבט מישראל, לפיכך פתו ויחסו אחר.
Okay, it's very nice. So basically, the problem is that the Torah has already told us just a few psukim earlier. If you go back to Pasuk Zayin in the end of last week's parsha, it says Vayar Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. It just says he's a son of. It just says his whole lineage. So why does it say his lineage again? Why does it have to say it again? Comes along Rashi and tells us that the reason why I say it again is because the tribes are making fun of him. Ashvat and Mevazman. So let me just remind everybody, what did Pinchas do? Pinchas saw Zimri and Cosby. Zimri, the prince from the tribe of Shimon, and Cosby, the princess of the Midianites. He saw them fornicating at the entrance to the tent. He saw them fornicating. And so therefore, he went ahead and he killed them. So, but the tribes, rather than thanking Pinchas for this act of zealousness, said, what do you do when you can't defeat somebody on the merits? You start making ad hominem attacks. That's just the oldest trick in the book. And so they started attacking him. And how are they attacking him? They said, have you seen this son of Puti? What's a Puti? Puti, Rashi tells us earlier, Exodus chapter 6, verse 25, that Putiel was one of the names of Yitro. Putiel was another name of Yitro. So he said his grandfather, Pinchas, was a grandson also of Yisro, or a great-grandson of Yisro. Not a grandson, a great-grandson of Yisro. So have you seen this Putiel, who's a great-grandson of Yisro, who was himself an idolater, Shepitem Avi Imo, his mother's father had fattened calves for idolatry. Okay, so no, he was a grandson of Yisro, who was an idolater. Baharag Nazi Shavim Yisro. He's the grandson of an idolater, and he comes along and kills one of us. Meaning they attacked his lineage. They said, "You're not a pure blood." You know, like anybody here ever read Harry Potter? Am I the only one who read it here? Moshe never read it. Aaron, Elliot. It was one of the greatest books ever. I love it.
I thought you said you didn't want any jokes.
It's not a joke. I love Harry Potter. But anyway, Harry Potter, she's right. She's like all about the purebloods and the muggles. And this is the oldest story. They said, "How dare you? Your lineage is not pure enough." So they said, first of all, you go back. He says, "I could be traced back to Aaron." That's what she said. I could be traced back to Aaron. Yes, Harold.
Yeah, Yitro was Moshe's father-in-law, but not.
So no, Yisro, Eliezer's wife was Yisro's daughter also.
Oh,
That's what we're saying here. Basically,
but that's Midrash, right? We don't know.
no. In there's the text in we have to look it up in Exodus. It refers to it. I mean, it's not explicit. It's not explicit. Look at we have to look up. Hold on, I'm gonna get the text. Where's the lineage?
Rabbi.
What? What are we saying, Rabbi
Rashi
Yosef?
quotes it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the Rashi. Rashi says it to chapter 6, verse
Yitro
20.
and Putiel are the same.
Yeah, well, that is another thing, but it says in Pasuk Chafei, Elazar ben Aaron. It says in Exodus chapter 6, verse 25, Elazar the son of Aaron, Lokachlo mi benot Putiel. It says that Pinchas's father, who's Elazar, took from one of the daughters of Putiel to be his wife. And Vatelo at Pinchas. So Pinchas's mother, even if you want to say that Yisro is not Putiel, first of all, Rashi says right away that Putiel is Yisro because he fattened his cows for idolatry. But even if you don't want to accept that as Midrash, the text is very clear that he took a daughter of Putiel who sounds like an idolater, meaning like somebody who's not born from the Jewish, like descendants of Jacob. So Rashi identifies Putiel with Yisro. And that's also the Gemara in Baba Basra. You remember the Daf, Patel? You remember the Daf?
It's in Yesh Nochlin. Kufchaf something. Kufchaf Aleph.
You're almost right. You're 10 pages off. 11 pages off. 109b in Baba Basra. Okay, so anyway, that's the idea here. That Pinchas was himself of descendant of an idolater. So they were challenging him. So he says, no, I have good lineage. I go to Aaron. Then we say, Bikanoas kinasi. Rashi says, Binakmoas nikmasi. He avenged that which had to be avenged for me. He took vengeance. Bekanoas kinasi. Because foas haketzef, shayoliliksof. That God says, I should have been taking the vengeance, but he took it on my behalf. So now we have the question. Why did God not do it? Why did Pinchas do it? Well, if God was supposed to do it, why didn't God do it? Understand my question? Why didn't God do it? Why did he say, I'm going to do it for God? Well, where was God?
He wants to, anyone would stand up.
God was waiting for him to take the place. Yeah, I think that's right. But I have another answer also. Maybe God couldn't even do it himself because it wouldn't have been the same. Because, like Sam was saying, God wanted to see if there's anybody in the world who would act properly. There's an expression in the Gemara that a person who's a prisoner cannot release himself from captivity. A prisoner cannot release himself from captivity. You can't, one cannot release himself from captivity. Even God needs somebody else to avenge for him.
There's already a plague.
There was a plague. There was already a plague. That's true, but it did not affect Zimri and Cosby. I don't know why. Why didn't they die in the plague? It wasn't enough. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People like put the two and two together. That Pinchas makes this act, and all of a sudden
The plague stops. No, people didn't. People can never see the obvious. I think that's a very fair lesson in life. We always miss the obvious. Okay, now we come to the pasuk. Therefore, he says, "Behold, I will give to him my covenant of peace. I'll give him my covenant of peace, my Brit Shalom." When I first became a rabbi, so somebody told me, "No, I don't." He said, "I don't want to give my son a bris. I want to do a Brit Shalom." I said, "What's a Brit Shalom?" Instead of circumcising the baby, they cut off a piece of carrot. Promise you, they didn't want to do a circumcision. They would say, we're going to do a Brit Shalom. Nobody's heard of this? Nobody's ever heard of such a thing.
it's reform movement.
What?
Is the reform movement? Or
I think Reform does circumcisions. Reform is not canceled. So, what? Gone away from it?
It's optional, optional/discouraged.
Really? When I was in YU, I had many different roommates. One of my roommates in the apartment became a great rabbi, a nice rabbi. Another one became a leader of the anti-circumcision movement. Yeah. Also, we get all sorts of types. Okay, anyway, they're called, you know what they're called, the anti-circumcision movement? They have a name, they're called intactists. Intactists. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Okay, at Briti Shalom, Shetehelo Levrit Shalom, Adam HaMachzik Tova V'chinus V'misha Ose Himo Tova. Afka and Perish Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shlomosav. So why is it called Brit Shalom? Rashi says that it should be for him a Brit Shalom. Not that what does it mean I'm giving him a Brit Shalom? Rashi is saying that it should be for him. I'm giving to him. Meaning to say, I'm giving to him my covenant of peace. Meaning to say, not that I'm giving him my covenant. And what is my covenant? My covenant is peace. That's not what it means. But rather it means I'm giving him a covenant of peace. A covenant of peace. These Rashi here does not discuss it, but the vav of this word shalom is broken. It's a vav ketia, a broken vav. And how do we write this broken vav? there are three major ways to write it. One is that it's written as an os zeira, a small letter, just like a small letter. There are many small letters in the Torah. Another way is it's written as just basically you write it like you're writing a vav and you just chop it off and you don't write the full leg, the regular vav. And the other way is, and this is the way I do it, you make a vav and then you make a hairline crack in the vav. Why is there a covenant? Why is the vav broken? The vav of Shalom, why is it broken? Anybody know? What does the Gemara say? The Gemara says it's to teach us that his service is acceptable only when he is, the Gemara reads it as a yud, shalim, only when he is not with a blemish. But if he has a blemish, his service, even after the fact, is not valid. Okay. But of course, many people have a lot of drashas about the broken vav. We had a story in the Daf Yomi a few weeks ago, which I think is directly connected to this broken vav. I'll read to you the story, if I can remember it. I think it's completely connected. What's the story? Oh, here, pass me that Gemara, because my Gemara. You're there. This is the story of
Tia Bar Shalom.
Yeah, what daf is that?
It was a Shabbos daf. Dalid.
Yeah, it's daf Dalid Amud Beis at the bottom. So the story is as follows. That no.
I'm sorry, Gimel.
Yeah, it's Gimel Beis at the bottom. Gimel Beis at the bottom, 3b at the bottom. It says that the following story, and I want everybody to pay attention. This is a very powerful story, but the story is as follows. Hold on. No, I don't think that hold on. No. I don't think you're right. I think it might be Hay. I don't think you're right, but so.
It was on a Shabbos, so it was either 3 or 10.
Oh, so it's Gimel on the base. Okay, fine. You're right. Oh, so maybe it's Beis on the base.
Nope.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah. No. Rabbi Yosef, can you find it for us? Oh, so maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 10. Hold on.
Here, it's
Yeah,
Yuram
it's
Beis.
10. It's Yuram Beis.
Yuram Beis, 10
Off
lines
by
from the
1
bottom.
week. Off by 1 week. Okay, fine. So this is the story. Kobe, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Amazing. The story is like this. The story is like this. Basically, that there was a group of people. The Roman Caesar had a story. His name was Katia Bar Shalom. It's spelled Shalom, but it's maybe pronounced Shalom. So what happened? There was a Caesar that he hated the Jews. And he said to the dignitaries, whoever has a piece of dead flesh on someone's foot, should he cut it off and be healed, or should he leave it and suffer? He's referring to the Jewish people. He's calling them dead flesh. So the Caesar what should he do? So the advisors said, cut it off and you'll be healed. But Katia Bar Shalom or Shalom said, no. First of all, you won't be able to defeat them. And second of all, it'll never happen. So in the end, welcome back, Jeff. Welcome back. Maine looks good on you. So
He ended up circumcising himself.
well, that's the point. A heavenly voice went out and said, Katia bar Ozo. So what happened was the Caesar said to Katia, you spoke well, but guess what? It's not how well you speak. You can't speak against the king. And so they were going to excommunicate him. When he's going to be brought out to be excommunicated,
Killed,
somebody-
executed.
executed, somebody came out, a woman came out and said, woe to the ship that goes out without having paid its taxes. Meaning you've done everything except you're missing one thing, which is also bad logic because you could go into heaven if you're uncircumcised. But immediately he fell on his foreskin and he cut it off, kata. And he says, now I've paid my tax. And he says, I leave all my possessions to Rabbi Akiva. But I was reading this story, and this is a story because it's called a Vav Katia, and Pinchas is given the Berit of Shalom. The basically the circumcision of Shalom. And here we have the story of Katia bar Shalom. So I feel like you have to read these stories together, and maybe the broken Vav of Pinchas is maybe playing off of this story. Anyway, you had a question, Harold, and then we'll dive in. Yeah.
Thinking, going back to Rashi with Shimon and Levi,
Yeah,
and they sort of play the trick on
yeah.
uh,
Very good.
which again was the Brit.
And this is the prince of Shimon here,
Exactly.
who was killed.
This is sort of saying Levi went the right way, Shimon did.
Oh, we had two people, Shimon and Levi, and Pinchas gets the Brit, and Shimon didn't get it. Very nice, Harold. Very, I've been reading this parsha my whole life, and I never saw that. Beautiful. Yashakoach. Yashakoach. Okay, so my friends, let's go. What?
That was a good one.
Thank you, Kobe. Let's go. Let's go daven mincha at this time. We'll go upstairs to daven mincha. Yashakoach to everybody. Yashakoach.
Thank you.
Go, Yash.
Thank you.